You got to prove you care, right? And I think Nathan does that really well, that he proves that he cares about Lucius. We believe Lucius cares about everyone in some way, shape, or form on that ship. Delivery, baby.
So it's just iconically.
Yeah.
I want an alignment chart of sideburns, like a scatter chart, but like or an alignment grid of of sideburns. So you've got like Lucius, Elvis.
Well, it is episode 3 of the Our Flag Means Fanfiction podcast, and it's been a pretty quiet week in the Our Flag Means Death fandom. On January 24th, David Jenkins posted an Instagram pic of a red sky with the caption, "Lights up on Sunnyside only," and the little arrow emoji. Hashtag Scene in Queens, hashtag Sunnyside, along with the song New York Groove by Ace Frehley. I think that's how you pronounce the name. The lyrics of that song go, I'm back in the New York groove. Of course, the fandom is going to clown about that. Some people pointed out that on September 14th, right before the trailer dropped, David Jenkins posted red sky at morning, sailor take warning the day before. So nothing really has since then been going on with David Jenkins land. On the full moon, January 25th, The Guardian put out an article with the headline, "Unhinged in a Good Way, Our Flag Means Death was canceled. Its fans are fighting back." It was a very long, detailed, really great article. It was #1 on their website for a while, and it was like their main page story for a while. So that was how the full moon manifested. We didn't get any news, but we did get this big article. Meanwhile, the Renew as a Crew and Adopt Our Crew campaigns have been going strong. The Save Our Flag Means Death billboard truck is still driving around LA, and Bath and Body Works released a Calypso's Clementine series, which in their ad is described as zesty, bright, and optimistic. That is not like a coincidence. Whoever is in Bath and Body Works, like development or marketing, they have to be a fan, right?
I mean, I think this feral fandom will like latch at anything and everything having to do with
Calypso's Clementine. So
I mean, optimistic, yes.
I believe it. I feel like we're like low key everywhere. Also, I have to say, Calypso's birthday aired on my birthday.
Congratulations!
Happy birthday! Thank you. My first ever tattoo I got when I was 18 was a La Vie en Rose tattoo, and my dog is named Clementine, and Clementines are very like symbolically important to me. So I feel like all the stars are aligning. This has to be some kind of like
that's an omen.
Symbiosis.
And interestingly, I mean, I also have like a birthday synchronicity with the show. My birthday is September 2nd. And as you know from the show, September 2nd, it was a very important day.
Yes, absolutely.
But I've been noticing a lot of omens this week. I had, so in addition to the Bath and Body Works, which I feel like, come on, I've seen a group of crows flying in front of the full moon. Also in the kitchen at my work, which I work in a, kind of a large 9-story building in Mid-Wilshire, very corporate, very cement. There was a cricket in my kitchen. I'm like, there's no woods here. How is there going to be a cricket in this like Mid-Wilshire corporate building? And then I saw just recently a bunny, like a wild rabbit outside my apartment back step, like a very Ed type bunny. I've never seen a rabbit there before. It's like a very cementy apartment complex. Then 2 days in a row, I've seen 444 on my phone.
I'm always down to clown for this. Like
I'll take it.
Why not?
Anything to keep us aloft, just to keep us up and running.
And Nathan announced his appearances at some upcoming cons. So he'll be at Nathan Fode, I should say. He'll be at GalaxyCon Raleigh in North Carolina on July 27th and 28th. He'll be at GalaxyCon San Jose, California, August 17th and 18th, and GalaxyCon Columbus, Ohio, December 7th and 8th. This is the Lucius episode. That's why we're talking about Nathan. And we're joined today by some special guests. We have YA author Kylie Shakti, who is new to the pod, and Kylie is author of the YA novels You're Next and Hearts of Gold. Welcome, Kylie.
Thank you. Hi. Thanks for having me.
How did you get into watching the show?
So my younger sister recommended it to me. She texted me, I think, pretty shortly after the finale of season 1 aired. And she was like, you're writing a book about gay pirates. I just watched a show about gay pirates that was pretty good. I think you would like it. And she's like normal fan. Like she loves the show. She reads some fanfic. I was like, sure, why not? I'll give it a go. And I had my brain chemistry has been permanently altered effect of my reaction to the end of season 1 is what clued me into the fact that my meds needed to be readjusted. That's the level of sort of deranged which I feel like I'm in good company here. At least
yes.
You guys could probably relate to this to some extent. My sister had to semi-lovingly threaten to block me at one point in April of last year. She was like, if you do not stop texting me about the show and your various conspiracy theories about this. But I just baby duckling style imprinted on Ed, and it's just never been the same ever since.
Also on the show is Katie, Loopy Danger Frog on AO3, and Katie is a podfic narrator and does voices for all your favorite podfics.
Thanks for having me back.
What have you been up to since we saw you last?
Oh, working, recording, the normal. Scrolling through Twitter endlessly.
And Katie, I should describe, since this isn't video, Katie is wearing the Walmart orange pajamas, which reminded me that I need to head to Walmart and get these.
They are so cozy. 10 out of 10.
And Lacey is also joining us on the pod. And Lacey, congratulations. You are a Gold Star pod co-host. This is your third 3 out of 3. Perfect attendance. And Lacey, what have you been up to this week?
This week, I interviewed someone for my podcast. I interviewed Duncan Crabtree Ireland from SAG-AFTRA. I know, we love Duncan in this house. Duncan's the national executive director and chief negotiator for SAG-AFTRA. I talked to him a bunch of times on the picket lines themselves during the strike. It's at Comic-Con, but we finally had the chance to sit down together virtually and have a full-length interview conversation. So that'll be up on the Temple of Geek podcast at some point this week. I'm not in charge of the editing and producing. I'm just the host.
You're just the messenger.
I can't wait. How long is it going to be?
Should be 45 to 50 minutes.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to listen. Also joining us on the channel is Carly Del Saavedra, who is a photographer of the fandom. And what have you been up to this week, Carly?
Just a lot of wheels spinning on how to just keep the pressure on to woo different studios or to have HBO take us back for the last season, if that is still on the table. I'm just supporting the cast and the crew as much as I can on a visual level through Twitter and mainly Twitter.
I heard you were planning something.
I'm planning 2 different things. And it's, so February 11th and February 13th will hopefully be, at least for Southern California, 2 opportunities for fandom folks to meet in cosplay. The 11th for San Diego, the 13th for LA. Still a little tentative for that. But the one on the 13th is actually being co-planned with folks who are wanting to do something in front of the, for the BBC in the UK.
How fun.
A little bit of an international something to show our love. But it's all kind of the more I get into it, the more I step back to see how a big picture to this can be in order to get people who can't physically make it to all of their, to the actions to how they can support online as well. So.
Oh my gosh, I did not know this was going on. I'm so excited. I will definitely be there at the LA one.
I scooped you.
Astrologically, February 13th is the Mars-Pluto conjunction, which is usually associated with things like war and fighting or obsession. So
have fun in LA.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm all in.
And I should introduce myself. I'm Carly Heath, a writer in Los Angeles, and this is the Our Flag Means Fanfiction podcast. This show is all about positivity, creativity, unseriousness, and ideas being generated. My intention is that after you listen to the show, your brain will be exploding with hundreds of new creative ideas, and you'll dive into your writing or art or whatever you're doing with all sorts of creative fervor. And if you aren't a writer, this podcast will hopefully rekindle your love for the greatest series of all time. Exciting news. We now have listeners in at least 20 different countries, and some of those countries have laws against queer media. So good job, those of you who are listeners in those countries. You are being gay and doing crime by listening to us. So thank you. We are this week talking about everyone's favorite sassy pirate. We're talking about Lucius Spriggs. And I looked up some of Lucius's tropes on tvtropes.org. See if this checks out with you guys. Beard of sorrow. This is when a character grows a full beard after surviving a series of traumas.
Nice.
Stop. Yes.
Nice.
One so far.
And I feel like there's sort of a sort of trope subversion thing happening with that a little bit too, because I feel like Lucius is not the type of character that you often think of when you think of a Beard of Sorrow type of move. It's often your sort of like grizzled, hardened, like war hero, whatever, in the sequel, who's, growing out the beard and they're living off the land and they've removed themselves from polite society or whatever. And Lucius is just our favorite dumb gay bitch. And so I love seeing, as in all the ways that the show subverts so many tropes and genres in such a lovely way. It's kind of cool to see that too.
Also reminds me of this meme that I saw on Instagram, which was, if you isolate yourself after trauma, chances are that means you grew up in an environment where you had to solve your problems yourself. And I'm like, ooh, that one, relatable. Two, that gives us a lot of backstory on Lucius potentially. And Kylie, since you are a writer, you're like a, traditionally published YA writer as well. You probably are familiar with the idea that when you're developing a character, you develop their core wounds and you try and figure out what their misbelief is and how they then make choices acting on that misbelief. So it made me think, for fanfic writers, that's your backstory there. That's your Lucius there, a kid who'd always had to solve his problems himself.
So he weren't already like too deeply relatable to me. Nathan Folk gave an interview. I cannot remember when it was, but it might have been at a con that was recorded. Because I know that all the cast, when they first auditioned, they had to do that like improv around their backstories, and he didn't want to share his, which as an actor, I can, like, if you were improvising a backstory on the fly, I can absolutely relate to like not wanting to tell people the like random bullshit that I came up with. But he made this really interesting point about how, during that time period, Lucius can read, he can write. These are not common skills that people would have. And it implies quite a lot about his background from a wealth perspective, from a class perspective, from an education perspective, obviously, and how like those would have been really valuable skills. And yet he still somehow ended up in piracy and not even, like on, I say this with love, the ship of loser pirates. And so like, what does that tell us about what must have gone so horribly awry in his early life for him to have ended up where he did? And he kind of left it at that. But that quote has obviously stuck with me for a long time. So I thought that was a really astute observation about that character.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if his parents were not great and he ran away from home and he had to figure things out on his own.
So my theory is that he he was born into like maybe like a brothel or a home of ill repute, and his father is maybe like just kind of an older person who like just has the means to maybe help take care of him and his mom as they grew up. So not a life of luxury, but definitely like a little bit more comfortable of a life. And maybe like paid for schooling, but schooling got cut short because the benefactor passed away, and that's how Lucius ended up in a place where he could be a pickpocket and like have a lot more a sharp view of the world but still knowing how to read and kind of having had access to a much more comfortable life.
Ooh, I like that.
He makes that comment in season 1 to Jim of like, my mom thought I liked girls for years. And I think I love that there is still actually some ambiguity around that, because certainly like one very clear read on that is that there was a necessity to hide that fact about himself. But also, like, as somebody who came out later in life, like, I certainly who grew up in a very liberal family, and had tons of queer friends and was very much the like, I'm the ally part of Gay Straight Alliance type of thing in school. I think that like that's also a big part of the queer experience is like this sort of innate secrecy that you kind of grow up unquestioning that like, do you actually have to be hiding? Like I am hiding some of this stuff by instinct, but or even from myself, that maybe I don't need to be, that there, even when I know that there are people out there who would love and accept me, like maybe as parents, I'm still going to like not look too closely at this thing going on inside my own heart and my mind. So it still leaves it open to multiple reads. Yes.
Pet, compulsory heterosexuality is a hell of a drug, isn't it?
Yes, really, really fucking is.
The hetero default. I'm just a normal person, so I must be hetero.
Boring queers exist. I promise.
Okay, other tropes. Beleaguered assistant, beta couple. He and Pete serve as a beta couple to Steed and Blackbeard. This leads into one of my questions is why do we love Pete and Lucius as a couple?
Pete down bad so quick. Pete makes that couple. Not that Lucius doesn't isn't as infatuated, but Pete's infatuation and like big dumb boy vibes make it what it is. Because Lucius is like, oh, sweet child.
I mean, I love the man, but
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's really emblematic about what is so beautiful about the show. It is sort of like core to the ethos of the show is this like, in the same way that I respond so much to the relationship between Ed and Steve, where I am not somebody who can really handle a ton of like cringe humor. I was a little leery of the show at the outset because of that. But there's something so affirming of how deeply these people love each other at their most embarrassing. And it's not, I love you in spite of this thing, but it's this sort of like unflinching regard for each other. Even like Pete is probably, he's up there with Steve for most embarrassing members.
Absolutely.
Of the crew, like taken just in his
no
own
hesitation.
context. And Lucius is probably up there with Ed for like least embarrassing, although I would argue that they're both losers in their own right. Just like everybody else, they just hide it better. But I think that like, in spite of that, there's no, like, I'm condescending to date you or to love you, or I'm getting past these ugly flaws about you. It's like, it's just like a no brainer. Like Lucius doesn't have to think twice about loving him. And I think there's something so like healing about that for a lot of people. So much of the show being the themes being about questioning our own lovability and, you know, are we somehow like fundamentally broken or monstrous inside? There's something fundamentally wrong with us that somebody else can see that in you and think, no, actually like those, it's not hard to love those parts of you. I think that's part of what I really respond to with Pete and Lucius as well.
To that point, in both seasons, we see Lucius warm and like settle and calm down in Pete's presence. Mm-hmm. Like at the beginning of season 1, he's super anxious. He's super like weary of everything. And he's a very different Lucius by the end of the season. And so I think that is a huge testament to like finding that family and the loved ones.
Well, something I've been thinking about a lot with season 2 is like something I really appreciate that they did is that Lucius is really not okay in that season. I remember there was a critic early on in the airing of season 2 who was like complaining about how his storyline was too dark. And I actually like, he's so the like emotional support dog of season 1. And he's like doing all the emotional heavy lifting for so many people. And to see him be really struggling and need help in season 2 and to get that help, not from like Olawande, who's equally emotionally competent, but from all of the, from Pete, from Steve, from Izzy, the other people who are sort of emotionally fucked up. And they're not all equally great at helping and supporting him, but everybody's trying and everybody's showing up for him in their own, like to their own capability. It speaks to the fact that even the most sort of like emotionally hyper competent among us like still need help sometimes, but also that like we're all capable of showing up and loving each other and supporting each other even when we feel like, or even when we are pretty fucked up ourselves.
Okay, going down the list of tropes, brilliant but lazy.
I object to this one.
I also object to this one.
Okay, object. Tell us your objection.
He works smarter, not harder. And that's not a fault against him. That doesn't make him lazy. It does make him know that he's not going to fuck around with doing chores and shit. But that doesn't mean that he's lazy.
He is the
It's
ship's
also not-
scribe. He really
It's not his job.
It's not his
Sorry,
job.
Yes, I'm like to what you were saying. He is the scribe. That is what he is hired for. Like, that is a skilled position that he was hired for. It is not his job to be doing that stuff. When he says in season 1 that he doesn't clean things, that's not like him being a little bitch about it. That's real. And
I mean,
like,
And if it even is him being a little bitch about it, who cares? He's standing up for himself.
we're all entitled to be a little bit. My hot take is that he is a competent pirate. He goes toe to toe with Ed, like scariest pirate in the world, allegedly in season 1, quite a bit. And he stands his ground when he needs to. He pickpockets Jackie. We know that that's like a whole skill set that he has as well. I think he's very smart and very wily about the way that he employs his skills. And he's like very self-aware about what his strengths and weaknesses are. And it's not about to like, like some people, although clearly that works out well for some people. But I think that like he has his own set of competencies and he's very self-aware about what those things are. And also like, as you said, what he can get away with working smarter, not harder. I'm a Lucius defender to my core.
Other trope. I had to look this one up. Butt monkey. So he is the butt of all the jokes because he was locked in the trunk. He's had his clothes ruined twice. He loses his finger. He was thrown overboard by Ed.
I hate that name.
I do too.
That's fucking rancid. I don't know the origin of that, but I feel like we should dig and it's going to be questionable. Like that just feels problematic.
I just like, what does that mean? I genuinely don't understand. Like, it's not descriptive in any way that is immediately clear to me. So I'm with you on that.
Rancid. I know that's a tangent. That
I found a Reddit post from 11 months ago about how the butt monkey is my least favorite trope in fiction.
Just taking one character and just abusing them.
I agree with you. The term
is icky. I don't like the way that tastes.
I do kind of love the running joke of season 1 where Lucius keeps almost dying. And then we now know that he survives, but dies in air quotes at the end of it. That he keeps surviving all of these attempts against his life from Jim and from, like all of these different directions. There's all these, the finger, he almost dies. There's so many opportunities where he could, and especially as like, being perceived as the weakling on the ship. But he keeps, he's like little cockroach, keeps coming back. I do enjoy that little pattern with him.
Love that. Okay. Yeah. Another problematic term, the camp gay. Cigarette of anxiety. Lucius takes up smoking after going through all his trauma. The confident, the deadpan snarker, death by genre savvy. So this is the character who knows what genre they're in. So according to this definition, Blackbeard was attempting to kill Lucius by throwing him overboard, as Lucius is the only character who recognizes the rom-com between Ed and Steed. Killing him is Blackbeard's attempt to wrench the story out of that genre. It's subverted in season 2, where it's revealed that Lucius survived.
I thought that was such a poetic way of putting it, but like Ed is trying, as desperately as he can to wrench the story out of being a rom-com at the end of season 1. And that is why Lucius has to die, is like to move this firmly out of rom-com territory. And I thought what a like heartbreaking and like apt way of putting Ed's emotional state at the end of the first season of.
Oh my God, that's such a great analysis of the trope and the genre and the narrative. Mwah.
Yeah.
Poetic and so meta. It makes you almost think about like, okay, how can I do a fic where it's a fight, it's a battle between Lucius or between two characters even like, something not related to fan fiction, but something general, where two characters are insisting that something is a specific genre and they are trying really hard to make it one genre or the other. You have one character who's like insisting, no, this is a horror film or this is a horror novel, and another character who's insisting, no, this is a rom-com, and then they fall in love.
Oh, I love it.
Okay. Ethical slut, yes, or just polyamorous. Fingor, so finger gore. Genre savvy, what we just talked about.
Oh my God, this is happening. Yeah.
grew a spine, spends earlier episodes extremely uneasy, and then eventually grows confident enough to put Izzy and Blackbeard in their place. And that's thanks to Pete, the heart out of the entire crew. He's the one most concerned with everyone else's feelings and the one to point out when those feelings could be hurt. He's the one who, in season 2, who points out the bar is on the floor when he realizes everyone's just going to accept Ed's apology. Hot-blooded sideburns. And this is a subvertive trope because you usually have the long sideburns on an extremely heroic masculine character. And we have the sideburns on a character who's extremely, let's just say intellectual and cautious.
Again, this show is so good at subverting tropes like just left and right.
I thought it was just a period thing. I'm going to be honest about that one. I had no idea.
Who knows? Was it intentional or was it just put on there because there's a period thing, or was it?
Or funny. Yeah. You never know with this show of like which of these things is just like because of the laugh or because of like some deep and meaningful metaphorical reason. Or
well, when you think of sideburns, you think of Elvis, I think is the main sideburn dude. And in a way, Lucius is the exact opposite of Elvis in every possible way.
That is a sentence I feel confident has never been uttered before, like even in the context
together.
of this. Like, yes, Lucius and Elvis together in a sentence is just like not a place I thought this conversation was going to go, but I'm delighted by it.
I want an alignment chart of sideburns, like a scatter chart, but like or an alignment grid of of sideburns. So you've got like Lucius, Elvis, all the boys in Bridgerton, and anything else in the Pride and Prejudice, like Austen era. We could probably think of some more sideburns, but we'd have to think of like what the axes are. Someone make it.
Sideburns on one side, 0 sideburns on the other side.
So magnitude of the burns.
Okay.
Sideburns on the x-axis, and then the y-axis is hot-bloodedness. And then you have, if anyone listens to the Adventure Zone, because this is a podcast, Magnus sideburns, medium hot-bloodedness, and big fuck-off sideburns.
Okay, so we're doing the thickness of the sideburns, and then we're doing the on the vertical axis
Hot-bloodedness
is the hot-bloodedness. And what's the opposite of hot-blooded?
Chillness and emotionally reservedness.
Intellectual, like hot-blooded on one side, and then like intellectual on the other side.
You can be hot-blooded and smart.
Like, hot-blooded to
like
to
emotionally
like easily agitated or like high energy.
Yeah.
Man, I've never had to define hot-blooded before. I need to Google some antonyms. Hold
emotionally
on.
Stable,
emotionally
or like reserved.
detached.
I think
Emotionally
detached.
detached.
I think hot-blooded is being like quick to temper.
Burt Reynolds to Data, maybe, as far as like the scale.
After this podcast is over, I'll make the graphic of this chart, and then you guys can start filling it in. You know, because Steed has sideburns kind of early on in season 1.
Oh, season 1, yeah.
Yeah.
But I would argue
I know because I have them.
I would argue is also hot-blooded, just in a sort of not what we would think of as necessarily being traditionally masked kind of way, but
yeah.
In
a bitchy
definitely
way.
runs hot. Yes, exactly.
Bitchy, hot-blooded. That's another. Anyway, we're gonna move it along. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Go on.
I am not pretty. Lucius cheerfully admits that he thinks his own looks are so-so, but he's decided to act like he's cute. Love it. Meaningful name, Lucius means light, tying him to Steed's lighthouse motif. He's not the first mate, but he's probably the member of Steed's crew closest to him. He also serves as the guiding light in Steed and Ed's relationship, which is why Ed, as the Kraken, immediately gets rid of him, throws him overboard to let his dark side take over.
Having him be like the viewer's analog in their relationship is such it's so perfectly balanced. And I think like I could talk endlessly about the performances that Reese and Tyker are giving, but I think like not enough credit is given to Nathan as a scene partner, because I think we read so much of Nathan's like natural real life affect in the way that he plays Lucius. But I think that the way like there's a lot of really particular moments with both Ed and Steve that I think just don't exist performance wise without such a generous scene partner that Nathan's being in a lot of those.
Beautifully said. Which gets to another question I'm going to have later, but why not ask it now? What do we love best about Nathan's performance?
Delivery, baby.
So catchy. Just iconically.
Yeah.
We know that, like, from interviews, like Kylie has kind of referenced, that they did pick him because they wanted, like, they had seen the videos he was making.
Yeah. Did you see the specific video that made Taika like reach out to him?
Yes. It's
Tell me.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Is it the Noah's Ark one?
It's the Noah's Ark one.
That really
I
is,
thought
like,
it was the
comedy
1917 one, because that was what Taika replied on. But
is this going to be one of those links in the comment section?
Yeah, we'll put a link in the comment section. So the whole story is Nathan back in the day was doing all these videos that he would post to Twitter, which are hilarious. If you haven't had a chance to watch these old Nathan Fode videos, you will cry laughing so hard. And I thought the one that Taika reached out to Nathan on was called The Only Gay Extra on the 1917 movie set, referring to the Sam Mendes World War I movie that was like all done in one take. And it's a very Lucius performance. It's so funny. You will cry. Rivers of tears while you're laughing so hard.
He has this really funny quote from some interview where he was like, it was it's like his first major acting role, season 1, on like a traditional set, I think. And he was like, I was really nervous and I was trying really hard to be like this really dedicated and studious actor. And somebody, it might have been Jenkins or whoever was directing the particular episode, pulled him aside and was like, you can just like be a dumb little bitch if you want. And so he was like, okay, I know how to do that. Which
Nathan Fode, and I took that personally.
And then the Lucius we know is
They folded that into his little heart.
Something that I think this show does not get enough credit for performance-wise across the board is how seamlessly it toggles back and forth between drama and comedy, which is incredibly difficult to do. And I think Nathan in particular, again, is like, so his delivery is so iconic and it's so hard. You can get so lost in like delivering these sassy little one-liners, but to be able to do that and also have those really beautifully tender moments, like in the pillow court and when he's doing the like breakup conversation with Steve, with the spyglass, and then all the moments where he's like giving Ed what for. I think like to be able to switch back and forth so easily between those two things is just really like nothing short of astounding.
You got to prove you care, right? And I think Nathan does that really well, that he proves that he cares about Lucius. We believe Lucius cares about everyone in some way, shape, or form on that ship.
Beautiful. Okay. He is the sarcastic devotee. He really gets around. We missed that one, which he's just polyamorous. We love that about him. And he draws everyone.
Well, that's the ethical slut as well.
He's under the ethical non-monogamy umbrella. I love the we don't own each other line. And when we get to what we'd like to see in season 3.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
He is the secret keeper, keeps Jim's secret, and he's terrible at keeping secrets. So he confesses. Sticky fingers, because he is a pickpocket. He took a level in jerk ass. Understandably, due to trauma, Lucius was always snarky, but spends most of his time in the second season, first few episodes, lashing out at everyone, including Pete. He is the trauma conga line. Yeah, I think Lucius has been through more trauma than anyone else on the show. And he faced uncertain doom in season 1. Good. So we covered Lucius's backstory quite a bit. What is your favorite Lucius scene in the show?
I was going to say, I have an epitome for this is far too fast, this is far too fast, this is far too fast into Izzy discovering him drawing Fang, mostly because I also love Fang. And so we get a lot of them together in that moment.
I really do like actually, I think I'm just so, but I've decided to carry myself like I'm cute because it just is so It's not just like delusion. He's like, no, I know what I'm like, but like I've realized that the way I conduct myself and the confidence that I project really is what's going to dictate how I experience the world. And I just love that. And
a good intro to the vibe that he's going to carry. Yeah.
I like how steps into Steed's space at the end with the eyeglass. Like she's just, I think he's a character in the show that is fully aware of everything going on around him and just kind of picks and chooses on what he's going to kind of interject himself into. Yeah, he makes choices about like what kind of drama he steps into or not. And I think him stepping in and helping Steed through the breakup or the rupture is beautiful.
I mean, I've talked like at length now about how much I love the pillow fort scene. I think that like Taika's performance in that scene is just breathtaking, so it gets a lot of the attention. But I think again, like that just does not exist without the like incredible sincerity that Nathan brings to that scene, and how easily he's able to sort of like bring down the volume and the intimacy. But I could watch the episode 7 where he's like giving Ed hell for during the treasure hunt. I could watch that like on repeat. And specifically, like I love when he's giving him the whole like you're gonna end up dying alone speech. But my favorite part of that is the moment afterward as he's, Ed has this sort of sweet coming over and, like rectifying the situation, cheering Steed up. And as Steed sort of wanders off with the map, Lucius has that moment where he's like, that was very sweet. And Ed's like, I will stab you in the face. That's, I think, one of my favorite beats between the two of them. I think just like switching so easily between like really ruthless sincerity to like that cute little comedy beat between the two of them is really well done.
And what would be the most awesome thing for Lucius to do in either season 3 or in Fics? What would you like to see?
Who was it that mentioned in chat something about him becoming like the negotiator for the new revenge?
Yeah. In the chat, we were talking about what would Lucius look like as a competent pirate. And Tony said, well, Lucius has skills as a negotiator. And so I said, he is the parlay specialist.
I would love to see him, like, shout out to Tony Yarens on Instagram and I think Twitter, for like flagging that. Cause like he's absolutely right. Like I'd love to see Lucius stepping in to a more active role, because in season 1, right, he is Steed's scribe. He's kind of Steed's bitch, and what a bitch he is. We fucking love him. And then in season 2, he's dealing with his emotional arc, and then I would love to see like the growth from season 2. I have so many feelings about like a potential season 3 and all the fics I've read about the new revenge. Like I'd love to see him. This is a very long roundabout way for me to say, like, I'd love to see him take a more active role in like diffusing situations or manipulating situations. Like, boy, if he was a D&D character, I feel like he has the charlatan background and his charisma is his highest stat. I think I actually rolled a character for Lucius. I'll find the stats in chat and we can include in the show notes.
Cute.
My next Baldur's Gate 3 character will be Lucius Spriggs. I will not be taking any feedback. Thank you.
My like deranged left field thing for season 3 is there is a real historical pirate with the last name Spriggs.
Francis Spriggs.
And he looks kind of like Lucius, at least in the illustrations that I've seen. And so I would love Nathan Foe to get an evil twin moment. I still am like ride or die for the whole third badminton theory, but I think Nathan could really do something special with that for that.
And so what would be funnier? Francis Spriggs being the opposite of Lucius in every way, or Francis Spriggs being the exaggeration of Lucius in every way for evil?
First one, because I feel like we got the second one with King Ricky in season 2. In relation to Steed, not in relation to Lucius. Sorry, brain went too fast.
Oh, you think Ricky is like the exaggeration of Steed?
Yeah, definitely. Wholeheartedly agree with that.
The exaggeration of Lucius being like so snarky, so faster with the one-liners, so bitchy, so sassy, but using it all for evil.
I was going to say, I kind of view Lucius as like the middle child, a little bit like the outcome of a middle child situation. And so I almost would love to see like it be like Big Brother, where he's like, oh my fucking God. Like, he like can't like, oh, Big Brother is like being a pirate. Like, I don't know. That feels like it could be kind of funny.
Big Brother as a sassy Big Brother, or Big Brother as
I think
more opposite.
Yeah, I think he's got to be like stereotypical, like macho man, gross heteronormativity vibe.
Almost Izzy like in a way.
Yeah.
And I think that would actually add a lot of complexity to what we already know about the Izzy and Lucius relationship and dynamic. I think to see a brotherly character. I love the unresolved sexual tension between Lucius and Izzy, don't get me wrong, but I think adding an extra data point of a brother that sort of fits in that same vibe, I think would be interesting and compelling. And I'd love Nathan to get the chance to play something that is still both playing to all of his strengths, but also like, I still think there's a lot of room for bitchiness within that, but also something that's so different from what he's doing with Lucius would be really cool.
Also throwing out there, Izzy is daddy, not Big Brother.
I would like to see in season 3, like the development of like that ethical slut, polyamory, throuple, whatever it is that we want to explore in some of the characters. And I would love for him to kind of like pull together his 20 husbands. And just
okay, do we think Lucius Briggs is a kitchen table polyamory or what? Like, I want to explore the full gamut of that relationship.
Love it.
Jim, Olu, and Shingi Shao. Like, this show was going places. It's still going places. I might be Delulu. I don't think I am.
I don't think you are at all. I hope enthusiastically agree.
Something could be fun in that all of like Lucius being like the ship's like therapist / sex counselor. Like we see that kind of, he falls into that like therapy trope a little bit, but then like also being like, that's not safe sex. Let's talk about it.
But also he diffuses like we don't all own each other, or we don't like, what is the exact line?
We don't own each other.
We don't own each other. Like
the drawing.
So that like really, that just diffuses kind of the idea of like jealousy and possessiveness and like throughout the ship. I feel like in the way that I ship the ship. So yeah. More of that, please.
So who do we ship Lucius the most with?
Oh, I mean, the Pete relationship. I can read a fic with Lucius with literally anybody. And I like even like truly deranged combinations. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure. That makes sense by the time, especially considering how talented the writers in this fandom are. But you can make me believe anything. But I think the Pete relationship, it just like really, I cried during the proposal scene, and I have cried every time I've watched it since. Like it just really hits me in the heart.
I think Pete and Fang equally in my book is how he fits.
And what's that dynamic? What's the Lucius Fang dynamic like for you?
I think Fang just is just a big, cuddly, loving teddy bear of a person. And I think Lucius was like coming at it from much more snarky, needing to have defenses up because of like, the things that just the harder parts of life. He has a lot of his armor up. So Fang is just kind of a safe space, like his pillow fort, his safety blanket.
I think there's something to be said too, especially in the first season. This is part of why the writing in the show is so good, is it's so dense with meaning. We get so few lines from either of them about their relationship, Fang and Lucius, but the few that we do imply quite a lot of the same thing happening for Fang, that this is a place where he's able to open up and be soft in a way that maybe has not been available to him in other places. That line where he's like, I've never had anyone take any interest in my form before. I think especially coming from a fat character is like the body positivity or body sort of like acceptance, neutrality, whatever you want to call it, of that. It's really beautiful. And I think like, especially what we know of how masculinity and sexuality are viewed within the context of like more traditional piracy and what we can assume about what was going on in the culture of Blackbeard's ship previously and that crew. I think I do get the sense, I don't think I'm reaching too hard to say that it feels like this is something new that's happening for Fang as well, particularly in season 1, and how quickly he goes from that to, how protective he is of Lucius in episode 6 with his finger and everything, and the boys' visual art.
Don't cut off the boys' little fingies.
That is just one of the fucking funniest lines in the show. I think to go from that, you contrast that with Ivan, who, at the very end of season 1, when they're like rowing away from the island after they've, marooned everybody. And Ivan mutters under his breath. I didn't notice this until recently. He's like fucking weirdos as he's rowing away. And like you see how much Fang has sort of like been integrated into the crew and how excited he is for the talent show. And I think a lot of that is we can infer as Lucius's influence. I think I agree with you that there's a sort of like cuddly warmth thing that Lucius is accessing in that relationship, but it kind of seems like it goes both ways as well.
So you talked about Sprizzy. Why is Sprizzy such a fascinating dynamic?
They hate each other, but they love that they hate each other. It's frenemies, right?
It crackles.
There's something about their dynamic where Izzy is much older than Lucius, but also the vibe is very much that Lucius is more experienced and grounded in himself as far as his sexuality. And that weird discrepancy, or not weird, but like the tension in that discrepancy, I think is really compelling.
Yeah, I think with the Ooh Daddy scene, so cringe.
So cringe, but so iconic. Like, our flag means daddy came from that. So
I'm sorry, wait, can we just say for a second, like, when you look at the show and all of the incredibly cringe things that happen in it, for that to somehow stand out, I think I can safely say in everybody's mind as easily the most cringe thing that happens in the show in either season is really a standout achievement. And I think like we should really talk about that more.
Really iconic. Thank you,
That it
Con.
got cut off, right? Like Con went on for quite a lot.
I think the take was longer than that. I think he said it was longer.
Much longer.
Beautiful. That's
what was
warms the heart.
Release the cut. Release the uncut version, you cowards.
Oh my God, please. Okay, so lore for you guys that I haven't shared anywhere.
Ooh, we're getting an exclusive. We're getting an exclusive fandom lore.
So Kylie, we haven't met, but in case you don't know, I'm the one that recorded the nipple height video and the tall energy video with Con and Samba on the WB picket line.
Incredible work.
Hero.
Resting on my laurels, taking a good little nap here. No, we were actually talking about how much we like really want a DVD. Like, obviously we weren't like talking about the show. Wink. We were talking about how desperately I was like, I want a third season because I was the first person to know this, but I didn't say anything. Con was telling me about how we were talking about the scene in Calypso's birthday where Wee-John like gets him into makeup. I was like, I totally like headcanon now that Wee-John is his drag mother. And then Con told me about like, yeah, there was the additional line that was cut. What was it? Can you make me pretty?
Make me pretty, yeah.
Make me pretty. And I was like, oh my God, I want to see that. And then we got on this tangent about how desperately we want DVD sets with bonus features like fucking blessings to Samba for getting us all the BTS. Yeah. But God, I want a DVD set with bonus features and I want those cuts on there. I want
all the missing scenes.
Something I'm so mad at is there are so many HBO shows now, Max, whatever, that get the like making of the episode. Like all of these shows get the like stay tuned at the end of the episode for more behind the scenes or whatever. And like, can you think of a single show where more people would be actually likely to watch that? Like, I don't know.
We're a pretty hinged fan base.
Clearly,
super normal. I don't think
pretty normal about content here.
I think you might be fishing in the wrong spot.
It's just like, I'm wondering, I work in like brand strategy stuff. And so like as my day job. And so I like really wonder about like a show like Barry, which is great, but like what's your percentage of the audience that's actually watching that, like making of the episode? Or I think they make like a podcast or something for each episode. Like how many people, what's your conversion rate on who's actually listening to that? And how much higher would that be? Like the return on investment for like producing that content. I was really at my like clown time, my very boring clown time in the lead up to season 2 is that was why it was taking so long for them to announce when the season was coming out, was that we were going to get all of this like official Max behind the scenes content of like the making of the episode or whatever, because they knew that we wanted that so badly. And of course that did not pan out. But I just like, if you were going to do that for anybody, why, like, this is the show because the production is so rich. There's so much nuance and depth put into the way that they make everything. And then on top of that, like we would eat that shit up. I'd be rewatching it now still.
I always skip over all that behind the scenes stuff in other shows, but on this show, I would watch everything. And I already do. I seek it out. I follow like every prop person and, set designer, decorator person on Instagram. I follow like everyone who ever has mentioned that they're on the crew or in the cast. I follow them all because I want all I want all the behind the
The
scenes
performers.
Yeah.
I will also shout out the people who steal all of their content and make compilation videos for YouTube. Because they're the real ones. Because then you can go back in posterity and watch it over and over again.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And Fan Crew does a really good job of putting it all together into a single website that's easy to search. But gosh, if Max just puts something out, I would be eating it up.
Truly.
Oh, so
that
good.
and the fact that we can't buy the Spanish Jackies t-shirt is like that. That's how I know that Max hates us. That's how I know, like before we got canceled,
Correct.
that's how I knew that they hated us.
Okay, so Lacey is currently
Oh, go for it. Yeah, explain.
Lacey is currently showing a picture of fan art that Khan shared to his story. Can you I can't read the artist. Can you?
Yeah. It's by Archetank, ARCHE Tank. Khan shared it 11 hours ago, and it's
Lucius and Izzy macking out.
Beautiful.
It's very
They've got,
hot.
like,
Lucius is
couple
grabbing
faces.
Izzy by the neck collar, like by this little scarf that he has around his neck.
Cigarette tucked behind ear.
his other
Probably
hand is
post-
around Izzy's waist.
Probably post smoking scene, because nothing is hotter than when Izzy takes that cigarette from Lucius and smokes it.
And then puts it back in Lucius's mouth.
Oh God.
I'm gonna comment that we just looked at this podcast.
Yes, and yes.
Oh, and who's the artist? By the way, we want to make sure we give the artist a shout out.
Archetank, ARCHETANK.
Archetank, you are a beautiful artist. Thank you for sharing that.
While we're talking Sprizzy, this is a great opportunity for me to yet again pitch the Jawbreaker series by Little Seahorse, which is like bubblegum lesbian Lucius and stone butch Izzy. And it is so tasty, so smutty, delicious. We love it.
Say less.
If we're moving on from Sprizzy Recs, I do have some other Lucius Rare Pair Recs that are fun flavors. I don't know everyone's, I know this is not everyone's cup of tea, but ya bitch loves Calico Jack. So this is a Calico Jack Izzy Lucius modern AU fic where they're all at like a 4th of July party and Lucius gets his finger blown off because he runs up to try to like save a firework last minute, and Calico Jack and Izzy end up taking care of him, and romance and polyamory ensues. That is called Both Hands in the Dirt by Clouds Pass Me By. And then The Young and the Menace by Foxtails is a Steed Lucius AU.
So fucking good.
Where they're both male men, and Lucius is like, daddy, please. Nerdy daddy, we love. And that it's truly an experiment in just smut, but is a great read.
It's also like, I gotta fuck that old man before him and Ed
Go
get
ahead.
together. I was like, that fic, if I remember correctly, is like, I have to fuck that old man before he and Ed fall in love and get married. And like, as I am like a die, I ship everybody with everybody. Ed and Cedar, like, I'm not really like a steady hands person. I'm like, you invented love. This is the greatest love story of all time. You belong together, no one else. But I love, like, I can get behind, like, Lucius slotting into their weird dynamic in some kind of way of, like, I'm here to observe and to fuck and then to see myself out while you two stare, like, baby cow style into each other's eyes.
I've read a few that are like, it's especially big usually during, like, the office and desk sex days in Kinktober of, like, Lucius Ed Steed situations with like the assistant dynamic is pretty popular. So very, very fair. Those are just some of the like every other rec I have is pretty like common pairing for Lucius or trope for Lucius, but those were one since we're talking a little bit more rare pair. Everyone's leaving.
Bye.
Where do we go from there?
I'm so sorry. My recs were so bad. Everyone felt the need to leave. I will
That's so good.
I'll leave. Just ask me to leave. That's the easier option here.
That's it.
Fam.
You're off the podcast.
Jesus
Get out of here.
Christ. Okay. I'm like,
You might create this is your
I'm
podcast.
so sorry.
I was
I'm
gonna
so sorry. I always come with a massive list of.
No, I'm glad you do, because I don't remember half the shit I read, and most of the shit I read is Gentlebeard. So like, I'm like, do I even read Izzy? Like I do, but I don't remember what any of it It's called.
So
my legs were getting sweaty.
No,
I had to
you're
stand
good.
up.
So a fun fact, I kind of referenced this last time I was on, but I keep a giant Excel sheet of everything that I've read. And so when Carly was like Rockstar, I just searched the Excel sheet for Rockstar, and these were ones that I remember because the authors were like a little more popular within the Twitter fandom, at least. And so I was like, oh, it's probably one of these three, and it was.
Thank you.
So that's how that happens, and why I remember things, because I can frantically search Lucius Steed mailman and find the fic in 10 searches.
Love it.
Brilliant. Thank you for your service. Oh my God.
Yeah. I hope to someday adult in the way that you adult.
Do you export or is it just manually every time you read something you like?
No, I export. So there's like a plugin you can use for Chrome. We can cut this, but there's an export you can use for Chrome. And so I pull that and track. That's how I track like my TBR and stuff too, because I think it's easier because you can't search your marked for laters for tags. And that's usually what I want to search for. And so, so that is how I track it. It's a nightmare sheet, truly. I have problems.
What's the extension? I'm like taking notes right now.
Oh, yeah, I can, hold on. I can send, I did like give me 1 second. I made like a little podfic Excel database in case people want to use that instead of searching through AO3. And so I had written up a tutorial for someone because someone finally volunteered to help me.
While you're looking that up, when I brought up the cringe scene of Ooh Daddy, and the dynamic between Izzy and Lucius is the kind of the fact that like in the show, like homophobia doesn't really like have any, like it doesn't really show up in the show. Queer joy is really what is like everything about the show. So that moment of the Ooh Daddy is kind of tied into the dynamic of those two as a ship, because like you've got this like very queer positive, really like in his bones is confident about like who he is and what his like and comfortable in his own like sexuality, sexual orientation and everything. And then you've got like internalized homophobia embodied in like that moment for Izzy. And maybe throughout season 1 arc as well, that he could push back into kind of this place of like self-hatred that Izzy's got going on, and then finding some kind of like spark and attraction in that as he's pushing and those boundaries out of the way and smashing them for Izzy.
Beautiful. I have a rec. It's called No Shark Did This. Oh gosh, I should have written down the author's name. I forgot. This is just off my head. And it's about where Izzy sort of plays psychiatrist to Lucius. And I love it. And it's relatively short, I believe.
If we're talking therapy, Lucius, I have like a reverse. Well, I mean, technically that was Izzy playing therapist too.
Yeah.
I have a reverse situation where this is like a newer fic that came out actually like a few weeks ago. It's called Love Lucy, and it's advice columnist Lucius. And so Steed, Ed, Izzy are all writing in about the same situation. It's very funny.
Oh, cute. Okay, other recs. This is rec time, I guess we're doing.
I have a few, if that's okay.
Yes.
I tried to focus on ones that I don't see recommended very often. So my first and like most, I don't want to say most important, but like this fic is very precious to me, is Hung Like a Horseshoe by Silly Teehee. They wrote the Time in a Bottle series, that like epistolary series between Ed and Steve that I also adore. But it's Pete POV, but because of that, Lucius plays like a pretty important role in it. It's all about sort of the two of them and their love, and it is so exquisitely written and so like tender and sincere. There's a line about a ladybug in it that like really gets me in my feelings every time. Only Chance by Chocolate Pot, which I read recently, which is a Lady Hawk AU, which is a movie that I have not seen in a while, but
yeah, Lady Hawk is a
phenomenal movie.
1980s movie, 1980s fantasy movie. It's beautiful
and delightful. And so like Ed is the wolf character and Steed is the hawk character, and Lucius is the like thief guy from the movie. If anybody listening has seen it,
the Matthew Broderick character.
Roger Howard is in that too, isn't he?
And Michelle Pfeiffer.
I have not read that fic, but I do love Chocolate Pot's writing.
And specifically phenomenal AUs, like really inventive premises. Like that's, Lady Hawk AU is not one that I would have gone for, like thought of on my own. But really fun read. speaking of the whole like Lucius slotting in between Ed and Steed situation, to be just a footnote in their paragraph by Foxtails is a really fun like threesome modern AU between the two of them. That is like Lucius is sort of crashing on their couch while he's in between apartments and kind of finds himself in this HR nightmare sex situation that is really delightful to read. And then living in a powder keg and giving off sparks by, I think I'm pronouncing this right, Kiara Sarah, who's an author I would honestly read anything from. They only have a handful of fics, but they're all so funny and have such phenomenal voice to them. The like one line summary for this one is 5 people Lucius tried to get to kill Blackbeard, and one time he decided to do it himself. And there's like the voice for each character, and this is written so well, and it's, like the humor of the show shines through so much. And then for a long fic, I think this is my last one, is like The Sea Around the Shore by the Sumerians, which is incredible fic that I never see recommended anywhere, and is like one of my all-time favorites. It's not necessarily Lucius focused, but he has a pretty hefty role in it and has specifically, I think, like a pretty well-developed relationship with Ed. It's set in between season 1 and it was written before season 2, so it's not canon compliant, but the crew basically invents Disneyland is my like big selling point for this one. And it like, or like the concept of theme parks, and it's so good. It's quite long, but they invent like franchising. It's so funny. And Lucius was a pretty cool on that one.
Any other, Lacey, have you given your Fic Recs yet?
All I've got is Hell or High Water by Model Moth, and it's not even Lucius centric, but he is the therapist on that fucking boat. Yeah, no, I don't have any specific recommendations.
No problem. Have we all got, Carly, did you give yours?
Yeah, so I just, I haven't really read anything that's like Lucius centric, but I just noticed that like in the pattern of like everything that I do read, and it tends to be all Gentlebeard, because I just fucking love those two together, that the voice of Lucius from canon TV show like rings so true, and like so many of the authors are able to just nail it in terms of just how razor sharp his wit is, and like the way that he's able to get it to perceive Steed, and when Steed is kind of fucking off and not doing what he needs to be doing. So the ones that I like, where he's kind of, and he's always playing the assistant too, or, you know, those kind of like helper roles. So The City Never Sleeps by Meta Van Horst. Meta Van Horst, yeah, it's beautifully written, and I think he like every time he pops in there, he's just got like that very steady, clear Lucius voice to him. There's
I want to call out really quickly that that's an SMAU, which is a social media AU.
Oh yeah.
So it's told through various types of media and pictures, and that one is fully online, up to date on the archive. Yeah, because you don't have to be on Twitter to read the thread.
For the SMAU, like that was like I don't know like when that came into fandom world, but like I fucking love, like I don't love it through Twitter because I just lose the feed and I never go back to it. But I love being able to kind of like, especially in this one here with The City Never Sleeps, the tweets that they have, like the texts that they send back and forth to each other, the memes that they choose to like communicate with each other, to each other with, are pretty hilarious. Like, Mismatched by Manic Fanfic, I think is another great one. And then Ed, actually. And I was just looking up.
Okay. Oh, and what is the Manic one about?
It's called Mismatched.
Oh, Mismatched.
So it's really cute. It's what is it called? A meet cute
matchmaking.
And they're on the way to the airport. And one of them's a matchmaker, and the other one, what does Ed do again?
Ed's a like a romance author.
That's right. Yeah.
And like Ed believes in love but hasn't found it, and Steed is like anti-love, but like is like it's formulaic. Obviously, he's the matchmaker.
It's a business transaction.
And so Ed is like, I'm going to show you that I can woo you through dates. And then they end up dating, but they're not dating because they're idiots, right? And Lucius has to step in and be like, you're idiots. So it's like I have it on my list too. It's like a great assistant Lucius in like an SMAU format in particular.
Yeah. Fucking fantastic.
And then Ed actually is also an SMAU.
It's by Bonnet Petit,
right? Yeah, that's Rockstar Ed.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great Recs, Carly.
Thank you.
I do have a few more.
Yes, give me more.
I may Lacey, get in there. Get in there, Lacey.
I found one in my bookmarks. This is Lacey again. It's never been sketched by Surprise Pink. It's rated E. It's Lucius and Steed. Lucius convinces Steed to sketch him, is the premise. It's spicy, obviously, and it's great.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Amazing. Since we're on an SMAU chain, I'm going to also pitch Lighthouse Expeditions by R.A. Toro, which is a specific breed of Lucius within that fic where he is an actual influencer. So Steed and Ed end up travel hosting travel tours in Aotearoa. And so Lucius as an influencer is like a special breed of bitchy Lucius in that fic.
I like that.
And so I can't recommend that fic highly enough.
Cool.
To Steed This Morning by Curio Cabinet is Lucius is interviewing famous country rock star and now curmudgeon Ed, and it's told through series of flashbacks of Ed's love for Steed. And so it's a country music AU. It's but Lucius and Ed's relationship in that is just so pure and so good. And To Steed This Morning is one of those fics that, well, it holds a special place in my heart. It was the first thing I ever did a full-length pod fic for. But when I am sad, I will go back and read certain scenes from this fic, just over and over again. Because Curio Cabinet's writing is just so freaking good. So I cannot recommend that one enough. And that's a very Lucius heavy fic.
It's basically like Walk the Line, but Gentle Weird AU, and I mean that in the best possible way. It's phenomenal.
Yeah,
and it's also
it's Johnny
Lucius,
Cash AU. Yeah,
it's Lucius with both Pete and Fang as
correct.
That his partners that he has supporting him through this.
Yeah, it's so good, and Lucius's voice in it is so strong.
Mm-hmm.
In Favor with Their Stars by Mix Mollusca, I want to bring in because you have Lucius and Jim fighting to save Ed and Steed's love. So that's kind of like her meets space fic is the quickest pitch I can kind of give for it. But Lucius in that I think is important. And then Thingy Friends, which is Tardigrape. Thing is a doggy daycare owner, and Lucius is a customer. So it's just a fun, quick little one shot that I wanted to rec. And then I went to London and all I got was Weird British Food and the Love of My Life by Queen Bee 42, which is actually written through Pete's perspective of him meeting Lucius and is really cute. Okay, I'm done talking now. Sorry.
And I am, I haven't finished reading this, but I just got started with it. It was recommended by Rosie last week. It's called, I'm looking for it right now. It's called This Is Not Your Grave, Get Out. And
it's so good.
Okay. It's Lucius is being kept in a little room by Ed after he got thrown overboard. And I just started reading it late at night, so I haven't finished the whole thing.
He sneaks back on board after he gets thrown overboard, and Ed catches him pretty quickly. And so he's sort of keeping him alive in the bathroom, not really sure what to do with him. And then the follow-up fic to it, which I think is called Teeth Marks, is also really good. And that's the Ed and Steed reunion companion. But it's beautifully written. The prose is really lyrical and lovely in that one.
Perfect. I can't wait to finish it. And then The Care and Feeding of the Ship's Scribe is another one I really liked because Lucius has PTSD and it's just little scenes, little vignettes of the rest of the crew taking care of him. And it's very nice and wholesome. Final question is, what characters would we love to see Nathan Fode play? What type of character, what type of role would we like to see Nathan play in his post Our Flag life?
I'd be quite intrigued to see something diametrically opposite, something very straight-laced and serious and dramatic. I'd love to see that.
In a period sort of setting, or in a contemporary, or in a thriller, or a Western.
Oh my God, a Western. I want to see Nathan as the protagonist in a Western. I don't want to see that. I don't watch Westerns.
The bitchy cowboy.
There is something fun about that of him like playing like almost like a Moriarty, like kind of character, like smart and doesn't, and like super stressful and maniacal, but like doesn't act like it. You know what I mean? Like is very nonchalant about how psycho he is. Could be kind of fun for him.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not picky. I just want everybody on this show to stay like booked and busy. I trust all their judgment about like, I want them to do every part. Like I want them to do shitty, stupid roles, and I want them like to have the opportunity to do stupid roles. And I want them to have the opportunity to do like high drama, Oscar bait roles. Like I think so many of the cast, this being like their big breakout moment in TV, I feel like my one hope is that they just get like every offer from every direction. I want quantity over quality, honestly, for all of them, because I feel like we'll get the gems because they're also fucking talented, as long as people are just like handing them roles hand over fist, because I think that all of them, especially somebody like Nathan, who again like wasn't necessarily trying to be an actor professionally before this, like what an incredible talent to have discovered. Like I want to just see him explore that in every direction, both good and bad.
I would like to see him as the kind of hitman, like Jason Bourne kind of action, just kicking ass, like physically,
enthusiastic,
actually,
absolutely
kicking ass,
but also funny. And I mean, I love that. Like, yes, but like Jason Bourne, but funny, and Jason Bourne, but gay, and Jason Bourne, but feminine.
Absolutely.
And those are just given Nathan, right? Like I don't.
Right.
I think that's hanging a lantern on that
table.
So that people
anything Nathan plays, babies will bring it to the table.
Like there's all those rom-coms that are like spy meets rom-com that like Reese Witherspoon or Sandra Bullock or whatever, like a Miss Congeniality. Like I would kill for that for Nathan.
Genre
I hadn't even thought about that until you just mentioned it, but sure, go for it.
Like super sparkly, like a Pink Panther, but actually does kill. Like actually does do the
I think anything, one, I would love for all the cast to get like a regular network series that gets 7 episodes and 7 seasons and 10 plus episodes. Like I would love Nathan to be on the next Abbott Elementary, not Abbott Elementary, but like a show like Abbott Elementary that's like on a major network and it's like a regular job and you can turn on, you can see him every week. Doing something, and maybe it's like an ensemble cast sort of thing. Maybe it's
Can we do a musical? Can he be in a musical?
Oh gosh, I'd love to see him in a musical. Would Nathan, do you think, ever do his own special, his own show, his own live show, his own stand-up comedy?
Oh, okay. I was like, well, he had Newark. And I think he's doing another one, right? He's in development for another show right now, but neither of those are stand-up. So I misunderstood the assignment. I'm sorry.
No, you were going, you heard the first part of my question and then I added an additional layer of complication to it.
I would almost prefer that he just keeps doing like little sketchy babies online than stand-up, but that's a personal.
They are good. I would just love to hear Nathan tell stories. I think anytime he tells stories, it's hilarious. And so I think he could easily do stand-up and do a special.
Can we talk about the unhinged questions he would ask on Beach on Wednesdays? Like we have to talk about it. I can't believe we haven't yet. The rambling, what is the one where he's going on and on about how Christian like doesn't know his lines and how he was being like, he would just talk into the mic with like homophobic slurs for hours. And then it ends with him going, so anyways, what was it like working with Taika? Like, I can't with this man. Everything about this man is so good.
He's so funny.
Nathan Fote, I love you.
He's proven as an artist as well. I think that construction paper gay series that he did, sublime, honestly.
I haven't seen that.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but you have the construction paper gay.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. Can you tell us what this is?
I can't remember. Like, I don't remember where it was. Like, I think he was at like a con or something, and they had them all sitting around like a kindergarten sized little table, and it was like with 2 other like folks from the show, and they were all with like feathers and markers and crayons and like construction paper and they had to like make art while they were doing the interview. And he shows it off at the end. And the other two had put like effort into like an image of some kind. And he's like, I just wrote the word gay. And it's literally like made out of buttons and sparkle things. And like, it's just the word gay. It's beautiful. It's
okay. You have to find this. I don't know what the heck you're talking about, but I'm into it.
In the comments.
I'm into it. And I would like to see it.
I am not familiar with it. Okay.
I can't.
So we are going to wrap things up. What are you up to right now and or next, Kylie? And where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on all the social media platforms pretty much at Kylie Shakti. So KYLIESCHACHTE. It's a sort of difficult last name, at least. I have a YA thriller that's like a Riverdale meets Fight Club kind of thing that you can buy in bookstores now called You're Next. And then I have a book called Hearts of Gold that will definitely appeal to our Flag Moon Stuff fans that I wish I could tell you when it's coming out, but it's been sort of a belabored process getting this one onto bookshelves. But it is about the daughter of a famous sort of like Indiana Jones style archaeologist who is forced through her AP US history class to work with the girl she hates on a project for their class, and they end up falling in love along the way as much as they can't stand each other. And also uncovering this sort of like mystery around these legendary gay pirates that I swear to God, I wrote this book before I ever watched the show. And when people read it after the fact, like you will not believe me because there's so many uncanny parallels, but the gay pirate romance at the center of it is essentially like if Jim and Steed were lesbians and made like an honest go of the whole running away to China thing. So like that, you know, if you love the show, which I'm assuming you do if you're listening, there's all kinds of like lighthouse and citrus motifs that just happened to be written in there before I had ever watched a single episode. So
delicious.
That's amazing.
Hopefully that. Like I've now, since I'm still working on it, and obviously I'm unhinged about this show, I've like gone back and added a couple of deliberate Easter eggs, but most of them were just like completely coincidental. So David Jenkins and I are clearly on some kind of vibe. But like I said, that'll be coming out sometime in the next couple of years. But for now, you can find me anywhere at Kylie Shakti, and you can buy my current book about a 16-year-old disaster bisexual detective named Laura Calhoun called You're Next.
Yay! Awesome. And Lacey, what are you up to?
As always, I am the host of the Temple of Geek podcast. I'm at Official Joy Goblin on Instagram and just at Joy Goblin on TikTok. And that's roughly where you can find me. I should have some interviews coming up for Temple of Geek in the next month here. And that's where I'll be.
Yay. Katie, what are you up to and where can people find you?
You can find me at Loopy Danger Frog on Tumblr, Twitter, and AO3. This week, I will be finishing recording and editing the final bits of Wave Hello to the Void by Mix Mollusca, Zachary Bosch, and E. Favy. So stay tuned for the rest of that and more fics and podfics to come.
Yay! And Carly.
Hi. So Instagram and TikTok, I'm Fangirl Photo, just to see all the fandom pictures that will hopefully start filling up the pages soon. And then I think for Twitter, maybe like Slayin' Chilean, but don't you dare follow me unless you're like well over the age of 18 and are really into pirate smut, because that's pretty extensively what that page is all about. So
it's great curation.
Yeah.
Thank you. I do my best. This is the adulting. You might be
as someone who's well over 18. It's great.
But I can smut curate. Thank you very much.
And I can be found on Twitter. I'm the other Carly. I can be found on Twitter at Carly L. Heath and Carly Lynn Heath on Instagram. And my book, The Reckless Kind, can be found at bookstores everywhere. All right, gang. So we're in for the long haul. It took 118 days to get the AMPTP to see things right for those of us who are on the strike. So be prepared to keep up the momentum on getting our Flag Means Staff's renewal. Follow Renew as a Crew on social, and also Adopt Our Crew on socials. And to those in the Our Flag community, if you want to be a part of future episodes and have all this fun, feel free to DM me and you'll be a co-host on this podcast in some future episode. Thank you guys all for joining me today. And until next time.